Namaste children, a hearty welcome for all of you for this wonderful session. This is in fact the fifth session in this chapter Triangles, chapter number 2. How are you children? You must be doing really well. In the previous sessions we have learnt the three most important corollaries to Thales' theorem and some of its applications also. Can you just recall them children? Yes, and a few problems from exercise 2.2 like midpoints theorem and the converse of midpoints theorem also we have discussed using BPT, correct? Okay, and can you recall the homework? Homework is equally important. We had given you two worked examples, exercise 2.2, 10 problems. We had made a request to understand them thoroughly and then only you are asked to write it in your class book. Hope that you have really worked out all the 10 problems, enjoyed it, show it to your teacher, take their signatures also. Okay. Today in this fifth session children, we will learn the first and the fundamental theorem of similar triangles with the help of congruent triangles and the basic proportionality theorem and some of its applications. Okay. So, can you recall this children? Similarity of triangles leads to equiangularity and equiangularity leads to, okay, this leads to proportionality, and we have understood that there is some kind of interdependency, interrelationship between equiangularity and the proportionality. In fact, we call this one as similar triangle cycle. Today, we are going to explore what kind of interdependency is there between equiangularity and proportionality. In order to understand the interrelation or interdependence between the equiangularity and the proportionality of similar triangles, let us perform the following activity. Are you ready children? With class workbook, scale, protractor and compasses? Here we go children. Yes. Look at this triangle, a pair of triangles, triangle ABC and triangle DEF. Let us suppose that angle A is 80 degrees and angle D is also 80 degrees. Okay. Let us come to angle B and angle E. Angle B is 45 degrees, angle E is also 45 degrees. Therefore, you know angle C has to be 180 minus of sum of these two, which is 55, and therefore angle F is also 55. So, we have two triangles here, triangle ABC and triangle DEF. They are equiangular because the three angles of one triangle are respectively equal to three angles of another triangle. These are called equiangular triangles and they are similar triangles also. Okay. Let us take scale children. So, you also draw these pair of triangles and try to measure the corresponding sides. Let us measure AB. Let us suppose that the length of AB is 12 centimeter and the length of D is 6 centimeter. Oh, AB is definitely greater than D. But if you really want to know how many times AB is greater than D, do you know what is that we have to do? We have to divide the length of AB by the length of D. In other words, we have to take the ratio between AB and D. Ratio is nothing but comparison of two quantities of the same kind. Let us do that. So, let us divide AB by DE. So, 12 centimeter by 6 centimeter, 6 ones are 6 twos are, centimeter got cancelled and we get 2. So, 2 times is equal to 2, it is a pure number, it does not have any units at all, it is just a number. So, it means that, look at the figure, AB is twice the length of DE. This is the meaning of AB by DE is equal to 2. So, let us measure A, B, C and EF children. So, let BC be 10 centimeter and EF is 5 centimeter. Okay. Again compare this BC by EF. So, 5 ones are 5 twos are, it is also equal to 2, which means the length of BC is double the length of EF, that is the meaning. Finally, we will measure AC and DF also. Let AC be 8 and DF be 4. So, again if you make the comparison, you will see that 4 ones are 4 twos are, it is also equal to 2, which means that if two triangles are equiangular, then the three sides of one triangle are respectively proportional to three sides of another triangle. Therefore, AB by D is equal to BC upon EF is exactly equal to CA upon FD, and in this case it is equal to 2. So, this is what we are trying to explore today, which means that if two triangles are equiangular, then the corresponding sides are in a proportion. So, it is always worth, before we draw any inferences, minimum 3 examples we have to write, children. So, here is the next example for you. So, here are two right angle triangles BEL and HMT with the angles 30 degrees and 60 degrees, 30, 60, 90. You draw these pair of triangles, one bigger and one smaller, then take scale and measure the sides and take the ratio between the corresponding sides and see whether the ratios are all equal to a particular quantity called a constant of proportion. Similarly, the third case, take two obtuse angled triangles, say with the angles 120 degrees, 20 degrees, and the third angle is 50 degrees. Again, here one triangle is called VHS, another triangle is called KCR. Okay, they have the angles 110, 20 and 50 degrees. So, take the ratio between the corresponding sides and see whether they are in a proportion. So, I think if you can draw these figures and do this activity exactly, you will understand, you will come to a conclusion, you will infer that if two triangles are equiangular, then definitely the corresponding sides will be in a proportion. Okay. So, let us write down our inference like this. So, what is the inference from this simple activity that we have done? So, it means if in two triangles the corresponding angles are equal, then their corresponding sides are in a proportion, and hence we can say that the two triangles are similar triangles. Okay. So, if the corresponding angles, that is if three angles of one are equal to three angles of another, then the corresponding sides will be in a one particular proportion. Thereby, you can say that the two triangles are similar. Children, from today onwards, we will call this property as angle criterion, or simply we will call it as AAA criterion. And this in our textbook, it is given as theorem number 2.3. Then second chapter, then point number 3. So, that is the meaning of 2.3. So, please understand that if two triangles are equiangular, then the corresponding sides will be definitely in a proportion. Okay. Having understood this, now let me tell you briefly, for the first time you are hearing this word criterion, what do you mean by a criterion? Criterion, children, is nothing but a standard, okay, or a rule. It can be a rule or it can be a test. Okay. Based on this, by which we will be able to pass a judgment or take a decision. So, such a kind of a standard or a rule or a test, based on which we are going to decide what is the outcome of that. So, such a test is called as criterion, and can be based, and the plural form of criterion is criteria. Criteria is plural form, criterion is singular. Okay. So, this is the meaning of the word criterion. So, from here onwards, we will use the term AAA criterion, or you can simply call it as AAA theorem also. Okay. So, here is A criterion or theorem. This is the general enunciation of the theorem, which can be stated if three angles of one triangle are equal to three angles of another triangle, then the corresponding sides are in a proportion, and thereby we can infer that hence they are similar. So, look at these pair of triangles, children. triangle ABC and triangle DF. One is bigger and another is smaller, but look at the angles. Angle A is equal to angle D, angle B is equal to angle E, angle C is equal to angle F. See, look at the corresponding angles, they are marked with the similar marking, 1 arc, 2 arcs and 3 arcs. So, thereby you can easily make out which angles of one triangle is equal to which angle of another triangle. We can easily make out if you use this kind of symbols. Okay. Now, if you want to draw the figure for a theorem, children, you need to take scale and protractor. So, first draw the bases BC and EF, say of any length you can draw. Okay. Then keep the protractor like this, okay, at B as well as at E. Say some angle, any measure you can draw. Say here we have drawn 40 degrees, at E also you drawn exactly 40 degrees. Now, you mark two arcs at B and as well as at E. Again, keep the protractor at exactly at C and F and measure somewhere around 60 degrees here, and at F also you can keep the protractor and make mark an angle which is exactly equal to 60 degrees. So, therefore, you can put 3 arcs for angle C and 3 arcs for angle F. Therefore, so necessarily angle A will be definitely equal to angle D. Automatically angle A and angle D will be equal to each other. So, if 3 angles of one are equal to 3 angles of another, we call them as equiangular triangles. Okay. Children, we have drawn the figure. Once we have drawn the figure, what is the next step? We have to write a data, means whatever given in the theorem we have to write. So, before that you can put an outline like this for a figure, so that it will look very elegantly. Okay. Now, what is the data, children? In triangle ABC and triangle DF, the first foremost point is angle A is equal to angle D, and secondly angle angle B is equal to angle E. Okay. So, why we are not writing the third angle, children? Straight away we are writing to prove now. So, it is because you know if 2 angles of one triangle are equal to 2 angles of another, then the third angle will be automatically it will be equal. So, it is not worth to write the third angle at all. So, to prove is the corresponding sides are in a proportion, that is AB upon DE is equal to BC upon EF is equal to CA upon EFD. This is what we have to prove now. Okay. So, this requires some construction, children. Without construction it is not possible to prove this. Do you have any idea, using our previous knowledge of congruent triangles, can you suggest any construction for this thing, children? Okay. So, you do this, children. Mark the points G and H on AB and AC, on the side AB and AC of triangle ABC in such a way that point number 1, okay, AG must be is equal to D. Look at the dot on the side AB, red color dot. So, that we will call it as G. So, you now take scale, measure DE, and the same measurement you have to mark on the side AB in order to get G. So, we will show it like this, put one line on AG and one line on DE, saying that AG is equal to DE. And you must also choose another point on AC such that AH is equal to DF. Okay, go to the triangle DF, take the scale, measure DF and choose the point H on AC such that AH is exactly equal to DF. Once you do this, so take scale, you put 2 lines like this on AH and DF. Now, join G and H in broken lines in order to say that this is not given in our data in the theorem, it is what we have done it in order to establish this. So, this is our construction. Okay. Having done the construction, children, some prerequisites are required, children. There are about 3 prerequisites are there with which we can easily prove this. So, let me quickly tell you the first one, that is SAS theorem. So, this is we have taught you in 9th standard. If 2 sides and an included angle of one triangle are equal to 2 sides and an included angle of another triangle, then you can decide that those two triangles are said to be congruent. Congruent means identical in all respects. ಸರ್ವ ವಿಧದಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಸಮ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಮಕ್ಕಳೇ. ಯಾವಾಗ if two sides and an included angle of one triangle are respectively equal to two sides and an included angle of another triangle, then you can simply decide that they are congruent triangles. Here is a figure coming up on your monitor screen so that you can understand this SAS theorem. So, AB and DE are equal, angle B is equal to angle E, BC is equal to EF. So, we will mark two lines on those two sides. If this is so, we have to show that triangle ABC is congruent to, is identical in all respect to triangle DF. This is what you have to recall now as the first prerequisite. The second prerequisite is axiom number 1, things which are equal to the same thing or equal to one another. We have used in BPT also. Once again we are using, you know this already. The third one is this, children, which is postulate on parallel straight lines, which states this: if two parallel straight lines are cut by a transversal, then the corresponding angles are equal. So, here are two parallel straight lines. The arrow mark indicates that they are parallel to each other. Here is a transversal cutting them, and we are showing a one pair of corresponding angles with a red color dot. You can see that they are equal, they will become equal. You know there will be 4 pairs of corresponding angles. Here we have just shown you one pair of corresponding angles. What is the converse to this postulate? Converse is this. See, there are two straight lines like this, and it is cut by another straight line such that the dotted line, the angle shown by the red color dots are equal. Then you can conclude that the two straight lines are parallel. So, if two straight lines are cut by a transversal such that the corresponding angles are equal, then the straight lines are parallel. So, if straight lines are parallel, corresponding angles are equal. If corresponding angles are equal, then lines are parallel. This is the third prerequisite, children. So, with these 3 prerequisites, we can now comfortably prove AA criterion. Here is the proof. So, you are looking at a triangle, an intercepted triangle at the top of the triangle ABC, which is called AGH. So, take this triangle AGH, and is it possible to compare with the sides and angles of triangle DF, children? Can you make a comparison? Which are the sides and angles are equal? Come on, tell me. Okay, what is the first point? AG and D are equal because we have done it. So, we must say the reason being construction, rachanaya prakara anta helbodu. What is the second point, children? Which is that angle? Angle GAH is equal to angle EDF because you know it is given in data. Where it is given? They are equiangular triangles. So, when you say they are equiangular triangles, definitely angle A is equal to angle D. What is the third and the last point which required for our comparison is AH is equal to DF. This is because of construction. So, you can see that two sides and an included angle of triangle AGH are respectively equal to two sides and an included angle of another triangle DF. Then with the help of SAS, can you not say that those two triangles are said to be congruent because of SAS theorem? Once they become congruent, we can say the remaining parts, remaining angles, remaining sides, area, shape, everything will be same. Therefore, we can say that angle AGH is equal to angle DEF because CPCT. We will show in our the pointer. Look at that angle AGH, children, in the figure. Angle AGH, yes, that is equal to angle ABC, angle DEF because they are the corresponding parts of congruent triangles. Briefly, we call it as CPCT. But already you know that angle ABC is already equal to angle DEF. This is because, once again, because of data. Look at the right hand side, children, in the two previous equations. The right hand sides are equal. Therefore, by axiom number 1, we can say that the left hand sides are equal, that is angle AGH is equal to angle ABC because of axiom number 1. Come on, look at the figure. We will show it in the pointer. Angle AGH is equal to angle ABC, correct? So, you know that you can call AB as the transversal. Imagine AB as the transversal, and if you know that if corresponding angles are equal, therefore we can conclude that the GH is parallel to BC, because we just now understood wherever corresponding angles are equal, we can immediately say that the lines are parallel. Once GH is parallel to BC, what is that you are thinking of? Either BPT, and we have got 3 corollaries to it. So, which one we have to apply here is this. So, by corollary number 3, we can say that the sides of triangle ABC are respectively proportional to sides of triangle AGH. That is what we wrote. So, the whatever the terms are there in denominator, you can replace it with the sides of triangle DF, because they are all equal. Yes, we got it, children. This is what we wanted to prove. So, hence we can say we have proved it, QED. So, look at the entire theorem proof, children. So, first stage is you must prove that, establish that triangle, that intercepted triangle AGH is congruent to triangle DF, by which you can say that GH is parallel to BC. When it is parallel, we can apply the third corollary and just replace the denominator in order to get whatever we wanted to prove. Hence, it is proved, children. So, if you are writing the triangles which are congruent, please follow an order, children. This is how you have to follow. If you start with BAC, you have to write triangle EDF only, or with B we can say BCA triangle is similar to triangle EFD, and finally you can write in these 6 ways you can write the triangles which are similar to each other. So, here lot of care has been taken to write in an order. Okay. So, order is very, very important. Please follow this, so that in future while writing the ratio for corresponding sides, it would be very, very, very easy for you. Okay. Let me take one small example and prove one particular problem from exercise 2.3/7th 1. So, in triangle ABC, here AD is perpendicular to BC. For you know the symbol for 90 degrees, so that has been marked there. One more altitude is drawn from C, that is called CE. CE is also perpendicular to AB, children, and you know these are called altitudes in a triangle, and altitudes in a triangle, they are all concurrent, and the point of concurrency is called orthocenter. It is represented by the letter O. Can you say anything now, children? Any similar triangles you are able to see here? If you draw 2 altitudes like this, you will be surprised. See how many pairs of similar triangles are there. Look, children, there are 4 pairs of similar triangles are there. You have to identify them and prove one by one. Okay. There are 4 pairs of similar triangles are there if you just draw 2 altitudes in any triangle. So, let me show just any one of them. Say for example, let us show triangle AEO. Look at triangle AEO and triangle CDO, compare them. So, point number 1, which are the angles equal to 90? So, angle AEO is 90. Angle CDO is also 90, therefore, they became equal by data. And the second point is, look at the vertically opposite angle, children. You know vertically opposite angles are equal, therefore, those 2 triangles became equiangular. Once they became equiangular, do not you think they should become similar, children? Correct? See how nicely we have proved. So many times you have drawn altitudes, but have you ever thought of similar triangles like this? Okay. There are 4 pairs of similar triangles are there. The other 3 which you need to prove just by selecting 2 angles and showing that they are equal to each other. So, here is a beautiful table where the figures will be always similar, or may be similar or may not be similar, and can never be similar, children. Okay. So, for always similar, circle with same radius or different radius will be always similar. Two equiangular triangles will be always similar, two equilateral triangles will be always similar, two squares will be similar, two regular polygons with the same number of sides will be always similar, children. Two rhombuses or two rhombi may be similar, may not be similar. Two rectangles may or may not be similar. Two right angle triangles, they may or may not be. If they are equiangular, then only they will be similar, but not otherwise. Two isosceles triangles also may or may not be, children. Two trapezium, two isosceles trapezium may or may not be, but a rectangle and square can never be similar, children, or rectangle and a parallelogram can never be similar to each other. This is a very, very important slide, children. You have to carefully make a note of this and draw the respective figure. This is you can take it as a small activity for you. So, today in this fifth session we have learned a theorem, a criterion and a few exercise problems, children. Come on, take down the homework. There are 5 beautiful worked examples are there, and in 2.3 there are 16 problems are there. Understand thoroughly and then only you are supposed to write in your class workbook. Without understanding, you should not write anything in your class workbook, children. So, in my next 6th session, we shall learn about the 3 important corollaries to this theorem. We have learned 3 corollaries for BPT. Even for this theorem also, there are 3 important corollaries are there, which we will learn, and some of its applications also we will learn. In the converse of A also we have to learn in the next session. So, with all my best wishes, and I would like to say thank you, children, thank you so much. So, I am T.K. Prasannamurthy, retired headmaster from Vijaya High School, Jayanagar, Bangalore. Namaste, children. Bye bye. See you in my next session. Namaste.